Howdy neighbors, welcome back to the channel. Here's a profile focused around Stern Blau, an archetype of the Nova Grappler faction. This deck focuses around Vanguard-centric multi-attacks that can play around a lot of the floodgating archetypes, but of course it's very dependent on another grade 3 that you run in your line. Here's the skills as follows. During your turn, if you have a Blau, which is the grade 2 card out of the ride line, it's sort of a callback to the older ride line because Stern is from the older pre-G series, but it has always been sort of a fan favorite and has always gotten a little bit of support. In your soul, all of your grade 3 units with Blau in their names gets plus 10k. Then on Vanguard Circle, auto ability. At the end of battle, it attacked. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Choose a Galaxy Blau on your rearguard circle, bind it, and ride as stand. And that unit gets -1 drive until end of turn. On your first grade 3 turn, you could potentially have about 5 attacks or so. During your turn, if you have a Blau in your soul, all of your grade 3 units with Blau in their names gets plus 10k. So just as a copying skill of Stern, you want to make sure that you don't lose the additional power of your rear guards here. Then, when this attacks, auto ability, Counterblast 1, call up to 1 Stern Blau from your soul to rearguard circle, which then you can call this to rear. Just gives you just an extra attacker. Because when you ride on it, you don't really have another way of getting it back to hand outside of like Mond. And then when it's rode on by another grade 3, it calls itself to rearguard circle, which you would usually ride Stern on it, and then you just do it again. Then another grade 3 that we're running as part of our combo that we'll be explaining in later half of this video is going to be Neomon Blau. When your G unit with Blau in its original name strides, choose one of your units with Blau in its card name and it gets plus 5k. Auto ability, Counterblast 1. When your unit with Blau in its card name rides on this unit, pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your 4 units with Blau in its card name and stand them, and they get plus 5k. Until end of turn. And here is one of the most important grade 2s in this lineup. You needed to have this card in your soul for more than half your grade 3s to work. The deck is relatively consistent, as you'll see in the later half of the deck profile, but it's still very important to see this card. Blau has the ability of on Vanguard Circle 1 plays, Counterblast 1, load the top 7 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card of Blau in its card name from among them, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Obviously, you'll be trying to either look for Stern or look for Galaxy. And on Rearguard Circle, at the end of battle that it attacked, if you have a Vanguard with Blau in its card name, put it into your soul and draw a card. Blau Lanza. A lot of the archetype is focused around the German names for either lances, weapons, guns, and swords. So if it sounds very German, it's a little tongue-in-cheek. So Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater with Blau in its name, attacks, pay the cost of Counterblast 1, stand this unit, and then it gets plus 2k until end of turn. And this doesn't say once per turn. Uranus Blau. When your unit with Blau in its name is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding or striding from your grade 3 unit, this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn, and also a once per turn ability of when your Vanguard hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost, and if you do, stand this unit. So my friend Robin had built this deck focused around this card specifically being one of your best beat sticks in the deck, especially it getting a borderline power threshold of like Sazanda, whereas Victor has your multi-attack Vanguard's restands. This gets its power bonus of you doing multiple strides and re-rides. It can get upwards to about 15k power just by itself alone, and especially if you haven't gotten power on your other combo turn of Neomon, you can still get extra powers from just striding, riding on grade 3, on your grade 3 with grade 3, getting your Galaxy out. Then you also still have your striding turn. Then you have your re-riding from your stride turn. It just has so much devastating ways of forcing your opponent to guard. Then here we have Spiral Breaker as another way of searching for one of the other pieces we'll explain in a moment, and of course to search for our Blau. Its ability of discard from your hand, look at top 5 and add any grade 2 or less. And its on attack ability of Soul Blast 1 when this unit is boosted, choosing a rearguard to restand, but if your opponent's on grade 3, you choose a column to restand instead. Another ride target that you're definitely going to be wanting to look to go into is going to be Blau Panzer. When placed by riding from Blau Junga, look at the top 5 cards on the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with Blau in its name from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. We do play an excessive amount of Blau targets. You'll definitely be able to hit some. Then its other ability is when placed on rearguard circle, discard a trigger card from your hand, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Blau in its name, reveal it and put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So obviously you'll be trying to look for Stern, Galaxy, or Neomon. Any of your other grade 3s from your combo that you're missing, you're definitely just going to look for it. And having to discard a trigger is just something you need to deal with. Then we have Neptune Blau Kluga. Hand ability, it pays itself as a grade 3 if you want to discard it for stride, so it's a stride fodder. And if it's discarded and for the cost of stride and you go into any of your strides and you have a grade 3 Blau Vanguards in its name in your soul, and you get to call this to rearguard circle, so you just have an additional booster that can work in tandem with your Spiral Breaker since you need a booster anyway. Another non-Blau unit that we're running is Beast Deity Frogmaster. Since our stride deck does utilize a very particular stride card that has a limit break ability on it, we're gonna need this card so that our limit break is gonna be always active no matter what damage we're on. Since limit break is a mechanic that was introduced way back when during the limit break era, as we call it, or have coined it, it just reduces the costs or requirement for you to be on 4 or more damage to now just not even be needed anymore. Then for our starters, we're running Blau Junga. It does require you to ride directly on Panzer to search through your deck for it, but when you do find it, you directly fix your ride line so you can find your Blau Klunga. Front triggers of Cardinal Draco and Blitz Sails Cleave. It's kind of a very wide oriented deck. As you've noticed, you have multiple ways of rewriting your Vanguards so far, just in the grade 3s alone. And because you're going wide, just getting 1 critical trigger on 1 unit or draw trigger power on 1 unit is sometimes not enough. And having a wide breadth of power just being divided to everything, you have upwards to about 40 to 50k extra power depending on how many axle markers you have, just off of 1 front trigger alone can be very annoying for your opponent to deal with, and especially if they have like a huge hand. Then for our overtrigger, we're running Star Dragon of Infinitude Elder Breath. Rank gets one of those only archetypes that does not really flop between different overtriggers much, because their overtrigger is just usually just the best. Its skill is additional effect of double the power of a unit of all the units in your front row, and double the crit of all of the units in your front row. So you can give the overtrigger power to something, it becomes 200 million plus how much of extra crit that you have on it. So if you drove like crit into OT, now you're doing 4 damage instead of the standard 2 damage. For our heal triggers, we're running 2 different sets of heals. Argo Blau Energy, which allows you to bind a heal trigger from your drop zone and countercharge 1 or soul charge 1. The soul rarely ever comes up an issue, but as you've noticed, we do tend to eat through a lot of our counterblasts a lot, since these are not once per turn abilities. Usually in rewriting on Vanguard, we'll be in a situation that we do need a healthy amount of damage, so having any way of giving us that is really good. Then 2 Guardian heals, the grade 3 heals. 2 stride crits. We have a decent amount of ways of striding in our deck, so we don't need a high volume of it. And of course, you could always opt to run 2 less front triggers, or even just 3 front triggers, because if you feel that you just want to try close off the game quickly, focused around crits, up to you. So you can run more stride crits if you want. Then we have Sentinel crits. With the excess of axle markers that we have, we're not really hurting much for draw triggers, but it could be an option if you feel like it. Elementaria Sanctitude is our order that we're running for this deck, and it is our last Sentinel. Something you could consider into this deck is maybe Forbidal or Angel Ladder, so that you can protect your Galaxy or Stern when they're on the rearguard circle, so that you can always get to rewrite them off to the G-Zone. Harmonix Messiah gives us our Guardian ticket. It gives us a damage if we're below 3, draws us a card, and it protects us a little bit against Link Joker. Doesn't save us entirely, but it helps out a whole lot. Favored Champ is an alternative win condition in our G-Zone for CB2 stand units for equal the amount of cards in your G-Zone that's face up. You discard 1, restand up 2, and then for anything above 3, you discard 3 more, and then you get to restand your Vanguard as well with countercharge 1. And they do end up losing 2 drive checks, and it is not once per turn, so that as long as you have the counterblast for it, you can keep on doing it over and over and over again. Keep in mind, when you do stride on your stern, and you do happen to have Galaxies or any of your other grade 3s out on Rearguard Circle, they do not get any extra power from their continuous effects. Uncanny Dragon King Astabulloch restands your front row, giving you plus 5k for every front row unit restood. Universe Ace Bustards, since we do play a tiny bit of restanding in our deck that does not require too much soul, you can pay the cost of Universe Ace Bustard and possibly get 5 drive checks. Blazau Blau is one of the forms you'll definitely be focusing on while striding a lot into this deck. With Limit Break 4, one of the reasons why we need the Limit Break Enabler, Counterblast 1, choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle of this unit attacked, if you do, choose a unit with Blau, grade 3 unit with Blau in its name from your hand, and write it as stand. You don't lose any drives or anything. You do obviously need to discard some cards, but that's an easy cost to pay for a very strong effect. Fang Dragon King Fist Driger is the GB8 you'll be definitely trying to close out games with when you can. Its ability is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost if you do. Stand all of your rear guards. Until end of turn, they get the auto. Once per turn, when this unit rested, stand this unit. And this gets plus 5k until end of battle for each of your rear guards. Just so... it's such a devastating effect. It's mostly used for the Victor finishing win con, but definitely almost every Nova deck can definitely utilize it. Sona Blau can be a finisher, but you can also use this as a starter as well. Counterblast 1, auto ability on Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if you have a heart with Blau in its name, you may pay the cost if you do. Search your deck up to 1 grade 3 card with Blau its name, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and until the end of that battle, this unit gets auto Vanguard Circle Limit Break 5. Sadly enough, you can't reduce the Limit Break on this via the Biz Deity Enabler. Choose 3 cards from your hand, discard them. At the end of battle, you may pay the cost. If you do, put this face up into your G-Zone and choose up to 1 grade 3 card from your hand and write it as stand. And we'll be giving you guys a quick clip to a friend of ours kind of explaining a little bit more about the deck, maybe something I might have missed, and hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Hey everyone, Roman here to talk about the Blau deck and its Mulligan order. So the most important thing for you to see is the Blau Panzer. If you don't see Blau Panzer or Spiral Breakers in your top 5, you will have to put everything back and try to hit at least one of the 2, kind of like you would for a Crest deck. After that, your second priority would be to see the Limit Break Enabler, Beast Deity Frogmaster. Once you have those in hand, your third priority would be to have as many Blau names as possible. Most important ones being Stern, Galaxy, and Blau Uranus. That would be your starting line. This is important because we use the G starter, which, if Blau Panzer writes us, lets us find Blau Kluger from the deck. And if we have Blau Kluger, that means that on grade 3 turn, our Blaus are fully online, and we can start comboing. This is why this is the most important thing in the deck. Blau is a very special deck in the sense that it is very Vanguard focused. It can do multiple attacks and is less threatened by Honolulu due to its low CB costs and not as dependent on restands. It can also run up to a great amount of front triggers because it makes a massive amount of front row circles, upping the value of these front triggers. And since they're 20k shields, that's pretty good. I really like playing this deck. I don't think it's necessarily better than Victor, but I think it has its place and can outspeed it. It makes it less reliant on strides, And yeah, it's just it's a different way of playing Novas. Thank you all so much for watching this video and taking an interest in this deck. Shout outs to my good friend JJ for posting this deck, and from, well, my friend Mars for all the time testing with this. He has been a great sparring partner. Thank you all, and good luck, and have good duels.
And now for the combo segment of the video. First things first, we're going to want a Uranus on field, potentially. Galaxy Blau Kruger is definitely going to be the main ride for our Vanguard going first or going second. It's going to be one of the first units we're going to want to ride upon. You could ride on Stern first, but it makes the whole play a little bit more awkward. This gives you a little bit more mileage out of the whole entire deck. We pitch for Stride into our Breza. Then skill of Neptune, it calls itself, so you could put it either front row for an extra attacker, booster for one of your rear guards. We're just going to put it here for safety's sake. Then we have a Spiral Breaker. Don't really know how much it's going to improve our situation right now at the moment. And then we call ourselves another Blau Kruger, which gives us another card draw. So in case we do need to go through our soul with soul blasting, we do have effects that force us to soul blast every once in a while. We can now pay the cost and not really have to care too much. 1, 2, 3. Let's go with that, yes. So we get to choose which one of the multi-attacks we go with. Let's go with this one for 27. First, front trigger. Power goes to everything, second. And then third, we discard 2. We discard this Spiral Breaker here, and possibly another Frog Deity. We're playing the game, so having one for this turn is already enough to resolve one of these effects, so we're fine. Then this returns itself to G-Zone, and then we ride Stride here. Since we activate the marker first to draw a card, we get to use a skill of Galaxy to call itself to Rearguard Circle, and because we have +10 to our front row grade 3s at least, this becomes 27k. And now we did ride again with our skill of Blazer. Our Uranus gets another +5. We do have the CB1 though, so it's going through one of our CB. Then we attack for 34 again. Then we attack for 27. This also gets +10 for being on Van. Then we attack here for 22. Do have our twin drive now. First check, we have a crit. We give all power here, and we give crit there. Second check, heal trigger. We possibly heal, maybe not. That depends on the game state and situation. We give power here, doesn't really matter. Then we have our skill of Stern. We ride this, gives us another actual marker. By discarding 2 cards, we do end up losing drive checks. We will discard Panzer and Kluger. Here we have the skill of Uranus getting +5 again. And the Vanguard does need to hit for this to restand, but that's fine. We swing again. Kind of last one. We call Stern from Soul, and our Continuous is still active, so it gets +10k yet again. Becomes 27. We have only 1 drive. We don't have any other further re-rides or any other shenanigans. If we hit, we hit. We don't, we don't. And if we do hit, we restand this with the CB. We swing with this again. Then we swing here. We Soul Blast our Panzer. Since we don't need that anymore, we restand that. Then we swing here, put us into Soul. We draw 1. Then we swing here for 27. We swing here for 49 or more, depending if you get any more triggers, and it is swing with extra crit again. And having to deal with 2 crits of this twice is annoying for any deck to deal with. And now we will go into the Neomon Blau Kruger. That combo resolves a little bit differently. And here's a segment of the Neomon combo. First, we re-ride from our Galaxy into Neomon. The Galaxy's skill will call itself to Rearguard Circle, since you ride out grade 3 on top of it. Does end up losing the power threshold, so we'll call it over here for better numbers. Uranus does get +5k. plus a stack of the ability. Then we pitch for Stride. We have around the same amount of damage we need. Going to Blazar again. On Stride skill of Blazar, we choose Uranus to give plus 5 to again. And then Uranus's own skill also gives it plus 5 again since I strode. And then Neptune's skill, call itself as a booster. And we possibly either have Spiral Breaker, but for sake of it, let's just not use Spiral Breaker as part of this combo then. Just draw more cards if we can, fill up our soul a little bit more to pay for other costs. We have a board like this. This is for when we do a rewrite, and this is our second Stride. Here we have first, second, third attacks. Then we swing Van, front trigger. That's fine. Third, crit, crit and power. And then third, nothing. That's alright. We have to discard 2 cards again. We'll just discard the Spiral Breaker and Frogmaster here. Remove this from Stride. We pay Arcana Blast. And then we rewrite Stern from hand. Then skill of Neomon. We Arcana Blast 1. We choose 4 of our Blau units. Stand them, they all get plus 5k. And then since we did another rewrite, this also gets another 5k. We get Axel Marker to draw a card. Galaxy also gets an additional plus 10. 44. Then 22. We have Twin Drive, first check, nothing. Second check, front trigger again. Yeah, that is pretty spooky. We discard this Uranus, then we discard a Panza. Ride Galaxy, swing this first, then swing with this and not call anything. But if we are on like 2 damage more or highest, if we're on like 4 or 5 damage, we can possibly... So here we can choose now between attacking with 69k power, nice. Or we can attack with a 22k Vanguard and we get Stern out of Soul, which gives us another attack extender. We are down a drive check, so he probably doesn't really improve our situation. Our opponent's possibly going to guard our Vanguard anyway, so we have to just choose which one we find more important. And I think in this case, we're just going to call the extra unit, and that unit's going to get additional plus 10k power. And since we did do a rewrite, this does get an additional 5k, and we get 1 drive check. Alright neighbors, thank you all for tuning in, stopping on by. Be awesome, stay awesome, have a wonderful day. And if you like our content, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help out. We're close to 900 subscribers so far, and it's been thanks to all of you. I have no words. Take care.